Nightclubs reopened in the UK this week, and you know what that means. Brits are partying it up in a pandemic. Their lockdown ended on Monday. But was it the right thing to do, and has there been an increase in COVID-19 infections since then? Our UK correspondent Olly Barret loves a sneaky pint at the pub. He joins us live now from London. Olly, I hear there are unconfirmed rumors that you were spotted in the nightclubs partying up a storm to celebrate the end of lockdown in the UK.
Far too old for that kind of stuff. There may have been a sneaky pint over the last few days, and the difference in how you can have that pint is one of the things that's changed as a result of lockdown being eased on Monday. Pubs up to that point, in the third stage of the UK's roadmap out of lockdown, England's roadmap I should say, were allowed to open, but they had to have limits on customers sitting at tables and the numbers of people, and there were limits on having a drink at the bar. All of that has gone, and you can now operate inside a pub as you always would have done. The question about whether we have yet seen a rise in cases as a result of the reopening, it's a little bit early to be able to give you an answer on that one. Indeed, in the last couple of days here in the UK, we've actually seen cases start to fall. Now, that could be because of the large levels of vaccination protection in the country. Maybe we're getting towards some kind of herd immunity threshold, but experts also say that given that the restrictions were eased further on Monday, we are likely to see cases start ticking up again, and we would probably start to see that effect on the numbers next week, maybe the week after that. And experts are saying when you ease all restrictions, you will get an exit wave. They say that is pretty much a certainty.
Olly, paint a picture for us of what London looks like now, what the atmosphere is like now that things are getting back to normal, it seems.
It really does feel quite a lot like normal used to feel. People are out and about, the restaurants and the pubs, and as you say, the nightclubs are all open, the shops are open and busy. We're heading into the school summer holiday season. Some people are heading abroad on foreign holidays, although that is very complicated indeed, with the testing regimes in place to go to some destinations, but also with potential quarantine requirements when you return. The mask wearing situation is interesting. The government has now changed, moving away from mandating mask wearing in certain situations to guidance about times when you might want to wear a face covering indoors in crowded situations, for example. That's led to some confusion. The London transport system came out after the government switched to guidance and said actually you will still require a face covering to get on our tubes and buses, but there hasn't been a huge amount of enforcement of that, so it's a mixed picture really. Often on a tube carriage you'll see half or three-quarters of people wearing a face covering and the rest not doing so. But yeah, it does feel a lot more like normal life than it really has done in this country for really the last 18 months.
Do you think the situation in the UK gives countries like South Africa a reason to be positive? We just hit the 6 million mark in terms of vaccinations, and should we be positive about things returning to normal once we get those numbers up?
I think you should be keeping an eye on the situation here. That I think is the key thing here. It's really an experiment. No country has tried this in the way that the UK has done. No country has really got to this point in their pandemic, I should say, where cases are still rising and rising really quite fast, but hospitalizations are not rising as fast and deaths are very low because of that large level of vaccine protection. And that's really the balance that the UK government is trying to strike here. It's saying, look, we've vaccinated so many people now, at some point we do have to release restrictions, accept a certain number of cases, and then really cross our fingers and hope that the National Health Service doesn't get overwhelmed and that fatalities don't spike significantly because of that vaccine protection. Let me give you the latest numbers. 88% of adults have now had the first dose of a vaccine, 69% have had a second dose. The government here is now talking about third doses being rolled out to some of the older people in the country from September. So you really see that balance there between vaccine protection and the fact that the epidemic will continue, the cases will continue to spread in the unvaccinated, but also at times in the vaccinated population. And the experts here believe that the outbreak should peak and then tail off within the next 4 or 5 weeks. If that doesn't happen, then that will be an example to South Africa and other countries around the world. And the UK government is being told if it doesn't happen, it may need to look at reimposing restrictions.
Olly Barret, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy a sneaky pint on our behalf as well over there. Olly Barret from London speaking about the uneasing of lockdown restrictions in the city, and we'll keep a keen eye on how exactly that is rolling out. Still ahead here.